Hey, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Sunday. Sunday college basketball. We've got conference tournaments wrapping up. We've got Selection Sunday. What, a week away? Next Sunday, I believe, is Selection Sunday. So we'll have those brackets. We'll do a Hobby Evolution bracket challenge. So I'll get that fired up next Sunday night while I'm out in beautiful Mesa, Arizona. So we will do that. So try to do a Hobby Evolution on Monday morning so we can dissect live and direct from Sloan Park Hotel the bracket. So, it hasn't been, I was like looking all over the TV for like college basketball games. And there were some games on. I think Carolina Duke was on last night. Was watching a little bit of that. I want a TV talk today. Because we started a new show last night. But during the day, I got kind of like a burnout yesterday. I shipped. And I finally got under 100 items to ship. And let me tell you, when I break 100, and when I mean break, it means going under 100 items to ship on eBay. It's like a weight off my shoulder. I feel like I've been running a marathon trying to keep up with shipping. And then I get to like 99 and it's like, I can breathe again. I remember when I had like 10 items to ship and it was like, oh my God, I have 10 items to ship. I'm never going to get this done. How times change, right? So I shipped. Post office run, ran to the new house because I still had a table from 2 weeks ago, last week, I guess, in my car. So dropped that off, put that in the garage. And then I came home and I turned on some basketball. I found a game. Can't remember which game. Kansas, maybe. Kansas, Texas. So there were some good games on yesterday. I was looking for tournament games. I know Arch Madness is going on in St. Louis, the Missouri Valley tournament. I know my Summit League. Shout out to the Fighting Leathernecks. Ooh, I don't even know if they probably were a 3 seed. I think they were a 2 or 3. Oral Roberts. Boo. We do not like Oral Roberts. Oral Roberts was they ran away in the Summit League this year. Let's see. Let's go to Summit League. So they're playing up in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, which can be fun during tournament time. I don't know if it can be fun any other time of year. So let's see. Oh, my Leathernecks did not play Saturday. So let's see. Oral Roberts played North Dakota. High-scoring game. I don't even know what North Dakota's mascot was. They were the who were they? Were they the Fighting Sioux? And then they had to change their name. Oral Roberts won. Beat North Dakota University of alma mater of Phil Jackson. And then the other game was South Dakota State. South Dakota State, low-scoring game, beat Omaha. Omaha, 63-55. So what do we got going on today in the Summit League tournament? Sunday. We've got my Western Illinois Leathernecks. Ooh, maybe they weren't a 3 seed. They must have lost some games. They're 9-9, tied with St. Thomas. So that must be the 4-5 game. So they must have had either the 4th or 5th seed. So St. Thomas of Minnesota, who, God, I don't even know if they're eligible for the tournament because they're transitioning to Division I. So my Leathernecks play at 6 p.m. tonight against St. Thomas from Minnesota at the Denny Sanford Premier Center in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And then the night game, North Dakota State, the Bison. They're a football school. They've been pretty good at basketball. They play South Dakota, the Coyotes. And they make sure to let you know they are the Coyotes, not the Coyotes. I grew up calling them Coyotes in Illinois. We called them Coyotes. But some people called them Coyotes. We're going coyote hunting. Get me some coyotes. I was a townie, and I called them coyotes. Coyotes. So anyway, so college basketball, full swing. Looking forward to it. Love this week. Conference tournaments, basketball all the time, leading into the big tournament, March Madness. Let's get into the chat. Let's see. Today's going to be a bunch of random hodgepodge. I'm going to talk about fanny packs, rip cards, one of ones, which I didn't bring in. We're going to talk about a new show we started watching last night. Uncle Rich is here, but I don't think I'll have much to talk about food. My wife did make a delicious dish last night. It was some pasta. It was the sauce that made it. Smelled amazing, tasted amazing. It was very good. Jenny's in the house. Bink Scott is here. Uncle Rich, what's happening? Bink wants to know what label printer Jenny uses. She says the Brother QL 1100. I also use the Brother QL 1100, and I absolutely love it. I know other people use other label printers, and I can't speak to those. I've heard good things of other label printers. I can only speak to the Brothers, QL 800 and 1100. Of those two, the 800 is cheaper, but it also only prints the 2x7. I have had issues printing postage on 2x7 labels. My post office can be not good sometimes. They can be the curmudgeons that say, oh, this is non-machinable and all that BS. So Brother QL 1100 4x6, you can do either or, and I just do the 4x6 labels. Fits perfect on a number 10 standard envelope, perfect on a bubble mailer, perfect on a box. Just peachy. The Brother QL 1100, not an advertisement. TD Sports Cards, what's happening? Let's see. Where are we at? John is here. What's up, John? Listing and shipping and listing. You were supposed to be a motivational factor. Shipping and listing and shipping. Let's see. Kyle, what's happening? Kyle's in the house. Dairyland Picker, what's up, Denny? What scanner do you use for eBay photos? Just curious. I use the Fujitsu 8170. It's a feed scanner. It's amazing. Love it. Absolutely love it. My buddy Josh, who doesn't watch, he told me he doesn't watch podcasts, so I know he's not watching or listening to this, but he did watch. He's like, I don't listen to any podcasts or watch YouTube videos, but I did listen to you and that other guy, and he meant Ty Wilson, talking about eBay. I'm like, well, thank you for listening. Anyway, the reason I mentioned him is because he just bought an 8170. By the way, if you do want an 8170, you can probably get a little bit of a discount if you reach out to Don Caruso at Fujitsu. Drop my name, and he might just set you up with a little bit of a discount. So hit him up. And if he doesn't, I'm sorry. But the 8170 from Fujitsu, it's an awesome feed scanner. It is pricey. It's going to run you close to $1,000 or right around $1,000. So it is a little pricey. There are other options. If you do want a little cheaper option, actually, somebody reached out to me via email just the other day and said, hey, what scanners can you use? So for feed scanners, I only recommend 3 models, all from Fujitsu, and these are feed scanners. The Fujitsu 7030, the 7160, and the 8170. The 7030 is what I used for a year, and I loved it. The only knock I have is you can't set your margins, so it can scan really tight, and so it might miss some edges. So that could be an issue. The 7160, and you might be able to use different software to fix that, and I'm not sure. But I do know with the 7160, the software you can, and you can probably get those 7030 and 7160 models refurbished or used from Amazon or eBay, and you'll save quite a bit of money. I think typically they're going to be in the $300 to $400 range used. So just like with anything, just be careful, buyer beware. Read reviews on the sellers you're buying from. So those are the only 3 scanners that I would recommend for feed scanners. Let's see. Royals 417, Matt in the house. Good morning. 1 week until Arizona for me. Have a good trip. Hey, awesome. We might, what are the dates you're going to be out there? Because we might be there at the same time. I will be there Monday a week from tomorrow will be my last day. So I leave Tuesday afternoon, this Tuesday, and then I fly back like early Tuesday morning, the 14th. I think my flight's at like 7 a.m. on the 14th of March. So I'll be out there basically Tuesday through Monday. Ricardo just went to the Texas Tech game last night. They took the L. Who did Tech play last night? I had some of the Carolina Duke. That was actually a pretty good game. My wife said, I can't remember what I think I might have given her. When I'm watching TV, this is how I think this leads to a happy marriage. I control the remote to the TV if my wife's not in the room. As soon as my wife sits down, I just it's just a reflex. It's automatic. Like I just pick up the remote and hand it to my wife. Because usually we have like complete, if I'm alone watching, I'm going to watch sports, wrestling, or horror movies. But if my wife's around, we're going to watch like Big Bang Theory, Schitt's Creek, Seinfeld, or if my wife's on her own, she's going to watch like reality TV. Or like, some of the stuff she watches. Like, she loves British programs. I hate British programs. And I'm like 30% ancestry from England. I can't remember what the numbers are. It's for some reason it's like every time I look at my ancestry, it's like I'm getting more and more like Scandinavian in my ancestry. It started out I was like 12% Swedish. Now I'm like 38% Swedish. I don't know how that works. Because I haven't changed. My DNA hasn't changed. How come it's changed? But I was like more British, or would it be British? I don't know, because I'm from different regions. I think one of my sets of family is from where are the Beatles from? Liverpool. So maybe Sir Paul is one of my distant cousins. If you've seen my family tree, it's a possibility. Anyway, oh yeah, so she watches that stuff and I'm like, I have no interest. Anyway, we started, so she has the remote and I mentioned, I'm like, oh, there's a movie on with Jennifer Coolidge that looks funny. It's on, I think, Amazon. And actually J-Lo, my wife loves J-Lo. It's with J-Lo, and I think it's called Shotgun Wedding. My wife's like, and she's like, oh, there's a show that I think you'll really like. It's called Daisy Jones and the Six. And Friday night, I like was bebopping around Amazon Prime, and I saw that. I'm like, hey, this looks pretty. I watched like the little teaser. I'm like, this looks like an interesting show. And I'm like, yeah, I saw that. Let's tune in. It's awesome. So it's about and as soon as like, based on like the 60-second teaser I watched, I'm like, this has to be based on like a band. And my wife, apparently it's a book. My wife said she read the book and she's like, yeah, I wondered, it's a really good book. And she's like, I looked it up, but it's not like based on any real band. I'm like, it's got to be loosely based on something. So I Googled it. And it was and I'm proud of myself because I'm not a big classic rock listener. So, but the fact that I guessed the band it was loosely based on like the teaser, and I'm like, this is giving me Fleetwood Mac vibes. And so I Googled it, and sure enough, I think when my wife probably Googled it, it was just a book, so it wasn't. Now it's mainstream. It's the TV so now people are Googling and wanting to find out. But it is loosely based on Fleetwood Mac and the relationship between Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham. Daisy Jones and the Six on Amazon Prime. We binged it, man. We watched like 3 or 4 episodes last night. It's really good. I really enjoyed it. Let's see. Jenny says today is going to be random like every day. Isn't that? There's a lot of truth to that. There is a lot of truth to that. Even when I do put a topic in the description, I like we're at an hour, 5 minutes, and it's like, oh, let's talk about the topic that I listed in the title today. And that's probably why I lose subscribers. They're like, I wanted to learn how to scale my eBay business. And he teased it for 3 days. I watched 3 hours of his content, and we never learned how to scale our eBay business. My apologies. TD Sports Cards agrees with Jenny. City people say coyotes. Outdoors people call them coyotes. That matches. Because there was a dude that I went to school with, classmate, I guess. We weren't in the same class, but we went to school together, a schoolmate. And then we worked together at the grocery store for a year or so. He was a coyote hunter, and he actually had coyote on his license plate. And it was how you spelled it, Kyle. Coyote. K-Y-O-T-E. And I'm like, it's not coyote. It's coyote. It's coyote. Shut up, Townie. It's not coyote. It's a coyote. John says, I use the Dymo Label Writer 4XL. It's been flawless. There you go. There's another option. Shop around. You pose that question anywhere, and you're going to have about 7 responses, and and everybody's going to swear by it. I swear by the Brother. John swears by the Dymo. There's a couple other brands that people swear by. So I just say pick one and roll with it, and you'll probably like it. I don't think there's if there's probably 5 or 6 that people like swear by. Just pick one of those and roll with it. I will say, the only thing I will say is be careful. And I know some people print 2x7 labels and they have not had issues, but you might. And if you might have an issue, you might have to just scrap that label printer. I have one right behind me. I'm not going to reach back for it, but I have a QL 800. And my post office all of a sudden just delivered a whole stack of packages to me, and they're like, the labels are too small. And I'm like, oh, you scanned them for a month. Oh no, we can't scan them because they're too small. And I'm like, no, look, I've been using these for the last month. Look here, there's actual scans. Well, we couldn't scan it because they're too small. Well, how come other post offices could scan them? They're too small. That was like the only feedback I got. They're too small. We can't. Like, I get it. Okay. So it cost me another $100 or whatever it cost to get the 1100, but I'm happy with the 1100. So you could have those issues if you have an annoying post office. Austin's in the house. Austin, I think I bought, you are the 50-cent box, right? That I bought some cards because I want to share my story on rip cards. Because I went through I was going through some of the listings that I listed last night. Was pulling stuff out that I had bought in Janesville. And so some of the 50-cent cards that I bought from Austin, who I'm pretty sure I bought from Austin, who's in the chat, I want to share a tip for you. Austin says, I just say Yotes, Kyle, because of the hockey team. Good morning to you. Wesley says, good morning. What the Chris Rock special last night? I did not. Had I known it was on last night, we probably would have watched it. I saw something this morning, like just like an article about how he talked about the Will Smith slap. And I'm like, well, shit, we would have watched that. So I probably will watch it at some point. Now I'm invested in Daisy Jones and the Six. So, but I think it's a mini series, so there's probably not many. Maybe it's 6 episodes, 8 episodes. I don't know. So that's like a day. Dairyland Picker says no scratches with the feed. I have not had any issues. I know some people have had issues personally, and I've listed thousands upon thousands. None that I have noticed. I mean, most Bowman Chrome now has scratches anyway. And here's kind of how I approach it. The cards that I'm feeding through the scanner, I'm sending through standard envelope. So if I'm taking the risk of sending these in a PWE, which again, I've had more issues with bubble mailers, and I say 10% of my shipments are in standard envelope PWE. or 10% are bubble mailer and 90% are standard envelope PWE. And I've had more issues with bubble mailers being damaged than I have PWE. So I guess it doesn't mean anything that if I'm sending it, but here's the thing. If it's $100 Bowman Chrome Auto, I'm not going to put it in a PWE. So I'm not going to put it through a feed scanner either. Just it's just risk. It's risk. What's the word? Risk management, risk aversion. If it's a $5, $10, $15 card and it somehow gets damaged, shit. But hasn't happened in 20,000 scans. Some people have, and sometimes there's print lines that come out. That can be different things. Most likely it could be dust particles. You should clean. If you have a feed scanner and you're feeding cards on a regular basis, even if you're not scanning on a regular basis, you should wipe it down with a microfiber cloth every day, just so those dust particles don't get inside and create print lines and all that crap. Let's see. Jenny says there's likely 0 discount for referral. I got no discount for being referred by Bo to buy the Fujitsu. Did you go through Don? And was it the 8170? And it might just be a small discount because I know the last person I referred did receive a discount and he was very happy. So, Dan, what's happening? And it had to be, I will say it has to be a new scanner and probably the 8170. I don't know if there's a discount that applies to the 7030 or the 7160 because those are last generation. I do know the last person that I referred bought the 8170 did receive a discount. So it's got to be a new machine and it's got to be the 8170. Maybe the 7030 or the 7160, but I don't know. Let's see. You are welcome, Denny. Let's see. Undrafted player. What is up? Hello, Bo. Who is your all-time favorite Wisconsin player? Ooh, so that's a loaded question because I'm a transplant. I didn't become a Wisconsin fan until like 2014, 15, because that's when I moved to Madison. I never had, and here's I'll try to make this quick. I never had a big school to root for. Now, I grew up an Iowa Hawkeyes fan just because they were always on TV. KWQC TV6 cares for you out of Davenport, Iowa. So they were always on TV6. So I watched Iowa Hawkeyes basketball. That's kind of what I grew up with, basketball, Iowa Hawkeyes basketball. Football really, I was such a big basketball fan that I just rooted for Iowa for football as well. So I grew up an Iowa fan. Then I moved and I went to Western Illinois. They're in the Summit League playing St. Thomas today in the Summit League quarterfinals. Iowa was not on TV in Macomb. I didn't get KWQC TV6 in Macomb. So then I still was an Iowa fan, but it became less and less of a fan and more just rooting for Iowa. So I went through like for 10 years. It's just like, I don't really care. Like, I like Iowa, but I'm not like a fan anymore because I'm not a fanatic. So then I moved in 2014 to Madison, and it's like you go anywhere on a Saturday during the fall and there's freaking red. Everybody's wearing a Wisconsin Badger shirt. And I just kind of fell into it. It's like, oh, I guess I'm going to be a Wisconsin Badger fan because I live in Madison. I don't have any Iowa. I didn't go to Iowa. I just grew up watching basketball games on TV. Might as well become a Badger fan. So my all-time favorite player, I don't really have one. Because before 2014-15, I didn't really watch the Badgers, and I didn't like them because I was an Iowa fan. So I didn't really like any pre-2014 Iowa players or Wisconsin players. I will tell you, I've got a Frank Kaminsky story. So Frank the Tank, it was my first year in Madison. My wife actually, and my wife and I had been on maybe 3 dates. We had just started dating. Um, a friend of mine who I worked with at Western Illinois, she went on to work at the University of Iowa. And I think this was volleyball. So she traveled with the Iowa volleyball team and she was in town. And so she wanted to like, hey, and one of the assistant coaches, I think, played at Wisconsin. So they were going to go downtown. I was still like, I was what, early 30s. So I could still stay up past 10 p.m. at this point in time. So I was like, my wife and I had, we were like together, we weren't like on a date or anything. I think we were just hanging out. I'm like, my friend Jill's in town. Do you want to meet up with her and a couple of the people on staff and go out to downtown? And my wife's like, no. She's like, you go. And I'm like, no, I'll stay here. And she's like, no, just go. Okay, I'll go. So I meet up with them at Wando's. But if anybody's familiar with Wando's, this was also, by the way, it's volleyball, so it's like a weeknight game. It's a Tuesday. And on Tuesday nights at Wando's in Madison, it's free bacon night. That's awesome. You get like a freaking thing of bacon and you just snack on bacon, drink beer. It's perfect. Wando's also home of the fishbowl. I've never had a fishbowl. It doesn't interest me. I'll just drink a beer. So we go and we're sitting in Wando's is kind of a unique setup. So there's like 3 floors. So we're on the like second level. And like I'm sitting this way facing you. So like Jill is the camera facing this way. And then there's another table just behind Jill. And so these tall dudes walk in. I'm like, and this is the year before Frank's junior season, I think. Like the year it was like the year that he broke out and became like a national like player. So like he was not a college basketball household name at this point. So they sit down. I'm like that's Frank Kaminsky. And Jill's like, who is Frank Kaminsky? And I'm like, he's like a really good basketball player. And so I'm like, Frank. And Frank turns around and I put my fist out to give him a fist bump. Like, Frank. And that a-hole left me hanging. So I don't like Frank Kaminsky. So he is not my favorite Wisconsin. But Frank Kaminsky left me hanging on a fist bump on free bacon night at Wando's. So Frank Kaminsky, not my favorite Badger. I don't have a favorite Badger. I will say, I guess I do have a favorite Badger, but it's through his connection with Iowa. Dean Oliver is my favorite Badger. He's an assistant coach on the basketball team. He played at Iowa like when I was a diehard Hawkeyes basketball fan. Dean Oliver, Jess Settles, great team, awesome dude. I've actually had a chance to hang out, talk to him a couple times since his playing days. Really good dude. So I guess Dean Oliver, assistant coach, is my favorite Badger, but only because he's a coach. Grew up rooting for him, and he was one of my favorites on the Iowa Hawkeyes basketball team. Matt says we will get to spring training games on the 14th as I'm on a plane back to cold Wisconsin, spending a couple days in Sedona prior to that. Well, we will miss each other. One of my best friends also flying in on the 14th. He's like, and I didn't. It's not like I text every friend I have like, hey, I'm going to spring training. You going to spring? Because I don't know if my buddy that's going has ever been. And he's like, yeah, I'm going out to Arizona next week. And I'm like, what? I'm like, I'm going to be out there the 7th through the 14th. He's like, I fly in on the 14th. I'm like, I fly out on the 14th. Everything I have like is booked, and I don't want to rearrange my schedule. And probably I didn't even my wife's like, well, could you like rearrange your schedules? And I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. We can hang out he lives in Colorado, so it's not like we can just hang out anytime. But we are also going to miss each other as well. Kyle says my wife always runs the remote too. I think that's how it rolls, right? Rich says not related to this chat, but Ja Morant wins my Idjit of the Week award. I haven't read the specifics on what's going on with Ja Morant, but it doesn't sound good, whatever it is. I think a gun's involved. Ja Morant, it does not sound like a good situation. Jenny says Shotgun Wedding was okay, in my opinion. Andrew says, hello, Dean went to his first card show yesterday. That's awesome. What did he think? What did you think? I'm curious. No card shows for me this weekend. It'll be a couple weeks. My next card show will not be until March 18th, the Madison Card Show at the Sheraton Hotel, John Nolan Drive. So hope to see you there. 125 tables, free admission, Saturday, March 18th, Madison Card Show. And that's the only March card show I will be doing. And I may set up in March. I have not decided yet. Depends on how I lose a few regular dealers to the Chicago Spectacular, so I have openings. So if anybody is Austin, if you want to come up to Madison, I've got tables for you. Yeah, not sure if I'll set up or not. It depends. If I sell out, I will walk the floor. If I have open tables, I'll just set up and fill them myself. That's kind of how I roll with it. John says Fleetwood Mac is the answer. Low roller, do you like 15-second pitcher clock rules? I love the pitch clock. I love the pitch clock in baseball. Let's see. Jenny, I think you would be worth a shotgun marriage. John says 4x6 for me. No reason to do otherwise, I reckon. Yes, completely agree. On the labels, completely agree. I think some people like the 2x7s because they fit. Do 2x7s fit? I don't even know if 2x7s fit on the small envelopes because some people use the small PWEs. But 7-inch, I don't know. Are those because like? Yeah, I wouldn't think a small envelope would. I don't know. Let's see. Cooter's in the house. What's up, Cooter? Good morning to you. Every day should be titled The Sofa King Random Thoughts. Hey, I might use that tomorrow. John says, Cooter's running around the house, stickering everything up with 1977 cloth. Austin does confirm. I did buy some stuff from him last Sunday at the Janesville Card Show, which I'm going to talk about. Let's see. John says, Daisy Jones has been getting good reviews. It's awesome. We watched, I think, the first 3 episodes last night. It was great. Let's see. John says you should stop offering advice, low roller. Andrew says, Bo is Colonel Kurtz from Apocalypse Now. It's been a long time since I've seen that movie. We are all the people with body paint, and John Keating is the photographer. Cooter says, John, I doubt there is much adhesive left after 45 years. Let's see. Rich says, LRS, that was the most twisted post you have ever made. Oh, what did I miss? Because I just kind of skipped most of his comments. Let's see. Probably not about Chris Rock. Yeah, that's kind of a dumb post. Let's see. Where are we at? Let's see. John says Bo is going into a long-winded rant to tell you he's a bandwagoner. Yes. Long story short, I just jumped on the bandwagon. Paul, good morning. Let's see. Getting him into the long-winded rant is one of the great joys of my Sunday life. Brian, my buddy Brian in the house, who accepted an offer on a 1962 Jello Mickey Mantle. Buyer still hasn't paid. Isn't that freaking annoying? Jesse's Card says it's tax refund order season. Fire, yes. I've been trying to get those Bowman listed. I bought so much Bowman last weekend. Getting those listed, and some of those I can just go through. Long-winded rant time. So let's see. What did I list? Just last night I listed these. I don't know if any of these sold. Let's see. I listed this. I think I bought this. This came from this. So I bought all the Bowman. It was like a father-son combo. So the dad had all the Bowman boxes that I bought in bulk. And then his son had like a lot of autographs and stuff. And I pulled this. I think I paid $2 or $2.50 for this George Bell. I have it listed in my eBay store for $10. And like within minutes, I had 2 offers. I think my best offer though is like $6. I'm just going to hold out. What else did I list? Let's see. I think one of these, this was in my bulk buy, which I ended up paying like 2 cents a card for all these. This sold for $5. Blaze Jordan Sapphire. A lot of the Sapphire sold. Let's see. What else? Oh, Jordan Walker. This sold for $5. Sapphire. I had a couple Wanders that were in those boxes. Those sold for like $2 or $3 each. Again, I paid like 2 cents in bulk for all these. Topps Chrome Black Aaron Judge, $15. Paid 2 cents. Let's see. Dominguez and Volpe Sapphires. I sold those for $5 or $7. Jackson Churio, I think that went for $8. Dominguez, $5. Mason Wynn sold for $4 or $5. Again, I paid like $2 or 2 cents a card for these. Ellie De La Cruz, I sold 2 of these. One went for 10, one for 8. I bought 30 Jackson Holiday First Bowmans. I've sold, I think, 17 of the 30 so far, and all of them have sold for between $4 and $5. So those were some of the pickups from last Sunday in Janesville. I do want to get into rip cards. I want to talk about rip cards. Where are we at? Cooter says, I think we should set up a pool, and whoever's comment sends Bo down the most random rabbit trail for the day wins the pot. Hey, that's fun. Look at the bright side, more bacon. There you go. Brian's favorite Badger, Michael Finley. So let's see. Finley was what, early 90s? Who would I have been? Michael Finley was playing basketball for the Badgers around the time I was really getting into college basketball, early 90s. At that point in time, I'm trying to think who would have been. Oh, I was on the bandwagon for UMass. Marcus Camby and Lou Rowe were my favorite college basketball players around that time period. Like, what was that, 94, 95, somewhere in there. Let's see. Jenny says, a question of a name turned into an essay. Absolutely. That's how we roll on Hobby Evolution. Chris from Corvallis. Are you in Oregon? Corvallis, Oregon, home of the Beavers. OSU, watching live for the first time. Welcome to the chat. I just shared a story. I don't know if you tuned in the other day. I shared my Corvallis story when my Leathernecks played Oregon State in the College Basketball Invitational Tournament, the CBI. My mom's in Oregon right now. She is in, it's on the coast. The hell town is it called? Lincoln City? That's Depot Bay, Lincoln City, somewhere around there. Let's see. Where are we at? Shaw Cards in the house. What's up? Paige and Dee Bean did a YouTube video for Dean's first card show. He said it was awesome and liked the dime boxes, and I thought the pricing was decent and plenty of attendees. Awesome. That's good to hear. Did anyone watch the John Jones fight? I did not. Let's see. Don't worry if you missed LRS's comment. He posted it again so the people in the back row could hear, and I'm sure it's coming a third, fourth, fifth, and sixth time. Jason Puck in the house. Is moving your outfield in considered a shift? Ooh, I don't know. Zach and Porter in the house. Good morning. Starting from the beginning. Have a nice day. Thank you, Zach. John says, before Dirk, Finley was probably the best Dallas Mav in their franchise history. Better than Roy Tarpley? Derek Harper, Rolando Blackman. They were pretty darn good as well. Yeah, some of the best. Oh, John might win. We're going to go down the Dallas Mavericks rabbit hole. Dallas all-time best. There's got to be a ranking. Let's just see one person's thoughts, opinions. All-time great Dallas Mavericks. There's got to be a ranking. There's rankings for everything in life. Let's see. Bleacher Report ranks the top 25 players in Dallas Mavericks history. David Kenyon wrote this in 2013, so Luka's not going to make the list. Jim Spanarkel, isn't he a broadcaster? Jim Spanarkel is number 25. Number 24, Herb Williams, and he only played 3 or 4 seasons for the Mavericks. Terry Davis ranks 23 on the list. Number 22, I don't really remember him as a Dallas Maverick. The big one, the Storm and Mormon, Sean Bradley. Eric Dampier is 21. Boy, the Dallas Mavericks. Oof. Detlef Schrempf, I don't think I recall him. Oh, he was drafted by the Mavericks. Okay, so he started with Dallas. Devin Harris is 19 on the list. Was he a Badger? I think he was a Wisconsin Badger. Sean Marion ranks number 18. Number 17, I also don't remember as a Dallas Maverick, Jerry Stackhouse. Jamal Mashburn ranks number 16. I thought he would have been a lot higher on this list. Jamal Mashburn, now I remember as a Dallas Maverick. Same with Jimmy Jackson. I thought Jimmy Jackson would rank higher than 15. 14, James Donaldson. 13, Jay Vincent. Number 12 on the list, the guy that I named, Roy Tarpley. Roy Tarpley was not as good as I thought. Josh Howard ranks number 11. Sam Perkins, there's a good name. Steve Nash ranks number 9 on the list of best Dallas Mavericks of all time. Number 8, Brad Davis. I think he was a better mustache grower than basketball player. Jason Terry's number 7. Jason Kidd ranks number 6. So who are the top 5? Again, this was written in 2013. Oh, what the hell? Okay, number 5, Michael Finley ranks number 5 on this list. Number 4, somebody who Rich mentioned, Derek Harper. Derek Harper, number 4. Another name that Rich mentioned, number 3, all-time greatest Dallas Mavericks, according to Bleacher Report, Rolando Blackman. Number 2, and here I am, 40 years later, and I still don't know how to properly pronounce his last name. Is it Aguirre or Aguirre? Mark. I'm going to call him Aguirre. Mark Aguirre ranks number 2 and number 1 on the list. Probably could have guessed it. Dirk Nowitzki. Or Nowitzki. So there you go. Where are we at? Talking about the best Dallas Mavericks. Rich Klein. Roy Tarpley, what a shame. Finley was a great player as a pro. It's too long to type in here, but I have a hilarious and funny Derek Harper story. Andrew says 2 outs, bottom of the 9th, game 7 of the World Series. Brian says Rolando Blackman before Finley. Rowe is my favorite K-Stater. Chris from Corvallis in Oregon. I did see it. I've been in Corvallis 6.5 years. I watched the recordings. I watched the 5-minute riff on Curly Bill twice. It should be in a time capsule. Curly Bill, my great-great-great-great-grandfather, Curly Bill. Uncle Rich says Bradley was terrible as a Maverick. I can't believe he would make I don't remember him as a Dallas Maverick. By the way, if you're into reselling low-dollar singles on eBay, Sean Bradley's a pretty good seller. Sean Bradley cards move on eBay. Andrew says 3-2 count and strike 3 call by the umpire because the countdown clock hit 0. Love it. That's the way it should be. Love the pitch clock. And yes, Sean Bradley now paralyzed. Mash should be higher. That's what I was thinking. I thought Mashburn and Jackson and Jason Kidd, but maybe that's because that's when I it's more nostalgic for me. Like, I think I put those guys on a pedestal because I remember them and I remember the hype and probably the hype coming out of college. And I probably watched them more as college players. Jimmy Jackson, Jamal Mashburn, especially Mashburn at Kentucky, and Jason Kidd. I didn't watch any Cal basketball, but I remember he was. And where did he rank on that list? Those guys ranked really low. I guess Jason Kidd was number 6, so that's pretty high. But the other two, Steve Nash was number 9. Let's see. Jimmy Jackson was 15 and Jamal Mashburn was 16. I think that's kind of low. Maybe Jimmy Jackson. Maybe I'm just thinking more of his Ohio State days. Let's see. John says Aguirre. Brian says that's the worst list ever. Rich says the way you pronounced Mr. Mark is correct. Okay, Mark Aguirre. That was intoxicating. Rich says I'd tell if you had StreamYard working. Rhymes with McGuire, Mark Aguirre. Sat behind Aguirre at my only Mavericks game. John says that list proves how horrible the franchise the Mavericks have been, right? Rich says put George McLeod on that list instead of Bradley. There you go, George McLeod. I remember him as a Pacer. Let's see. When was McLeod on the mat? Was he 80s or 90s? I can't remember. as far as his Mavericks. I know he played both decades in the NBA, but I don't remember. Let's see. I've got this Google machine right in front of me. George McCloud, Basketball Reference. Oh, wow. He barely played in the 80s. His first season was 89-90. Okay. How come I don't remember George McCloud as a Maverick? He was playing for Dallas like the exact 3 years I was a huge NBA fan. Interesting. Let's see. Jamal Mashburn was the most underrated player during his era. Played great for Miami too. Rodman was a great Mav. Dennis Rodman? I don't remember him in Dallas. I mean, I'm sure he was in Dallas like well after. Well, not too long after. So his probably last couple seasons. Oh, yeah, he played 12 games for the Mavericks. Dennis Rodman, 12 games for the Dallas Mavericks, the last 12 games of his career in the 1999-2000 season. And then he played that 1 year with LA. And, of course, his glory years. Well, I guess he had a couple different glory years. Wait, this can't be accurate. This blows my mind. The following stat blows my mind. Dennis Rodman only made 2 All-Star games. Dennis Rodman was only a 2-time All-Star. That freaking amazes me. He was an All-Star in 89-90 with the Pistons and 91-92 with Detroit. Led the league in rebounds 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 straight years and was only an All-Star one of those 7 years. That freaking amazing. Dennis Rodman, 2-time All-Star. He's a member of the 75th anniversary team. He's a Hall of Famer. And he only made 2 All-Star appearances. That's amazing. John makes a good point. There's no defense in All-Star games. I guess they don't want the best defensive players in the All-Star game. They want purely offensive talent. That's a good point. Let's see. Brian says we should make a worst Mavericks players list. Josh Howard like Beckett back in the day. Pete Rose was on the hot list and the cold list. Josh Howard is a top 15 all-time great Maverick and a top 10 worst Maverick. Sean Bradley, Dennis Rodman. Let's see. Robin Yount only has 3 All-Star. Really? That also amazes me. Robin Yount only has 3 All-Star appearances? No way. And he played like 20 plus years. Robin Yount, 3-time All-Star in 20 seasons. That's amazing. And not in a good way. Wow. Let's see. Zach says, Rich, don't act like you have as much knowledge about the Mavericks as you do college gymnastics. I was kidding about Rodman. John Keating was correct regarding Roundup. Let's see. You really want the worst Mavs. 91 through 93 Mavericks when they had those 11 and 13 wins back-to-back. That's when I loved the Dallas Mavericks. I sent them back when I learned how to write to teams and players to get TTMs. I wrote the Dallas Mavericks because I was a fan. I was a fan because they sucked. I didn't say that in my letter, but they sent me a bunch of swag, like a bumper sticker back when bumper stickers were cool. Some other crap that's long gone. But that was probably right around 91 when I sent them a letter and they sent me swag. John says Yount was considering hanging it up 5 to 6 years into his career. He was rather average for a while. Let's see. Late again for Herman. Not sure how my notifications got turned off. Rich says, amazingly, 3 All-Star games only for Yount. Baseball card curmudgeon. What is happening? Jenny says, our bumper sticker's not cool anymore because we are in a video titled Fanny Packs. Yes. So, speaking of, Jenny's very good at keeping us on track. Everybody else, we're off the rails. Everybody else, who are the best Dallas Mavericks? Who's your favorite Badger? Okay, rabbit hole number 1, rabbit hole number 2. I don't think fanny packs were ever cool. I have never worn a fanny pack. This came in a at the Cubs convention, and I've talked about this. It's a pink fanny. I think I'm actually going to rock this fanny pack at spring training. So that fanny pack came in a grab bag at Cubs convention. And it's basically you pay like $40. I think they might have been $50 this year. And you get a bunch of like leftover stadium giveaways. So there's always a bobblehead, a hat, like 3 shirts, calendar, just random fanny packs, tank tops, just random stuff. So I got this and I'm like, and usually I keep the bobblehead. And if a shirt fits, actually I wore it on one of the videos because it fit me. Usually they're like larges, and I'm not large anymore. I'm XL or double XL. So this was like one of the first things. The rest of the stuff I put on eBay. And this was the first thing that I'm like, I'm throwing this damn fanny pack on eBay. I'm not going to wear a freaking fanny pack. Then I got to thinking, when I go to spring training, you can't take backpacks in, which is annoying because I have like my backpack on from getting autographs and stuff. And then I have to either go back to my car. Now I'm staying on the Sloan Park campus. It's a long walk. So like when I'm tailgating, I don't want to walk all the way. So I've got to like buddy up with somebody who's parked, be like, hey, can I drop this in your car? Pick it up after the game. But it's like I have like random stuff that I want to take into the game, but I don't want to fill my pockets. It's like, oh, a fanny pack is perfect. I've got this Cubs fanny pack. At least if it's a Cubs fanny pack, I can get a pass. So I've never worn a fanny pack. Spring training, I'll have to get a photo. Me in a fanny pack for the very first time. I've never wore sandals either. I think sandals are freaking disgusting. Feet are gross. I don't want to see your feet. Dudes, I don't want to see your nasty, ugly, big-ass, nasty-ass feet. Put some shoes on. Wear some socks. I don't want to see feet. Feet are freaking gross. So I've never wore sandals. And flip-flops, don't get me started on flip-flops. So I've never wore sandals. I've never worn a fanny pack, but I'm gonna take the plunge, and I'm gonna wear a fanny pack at spring training. My Cubs fanny pack. So that's what I wanted. That's why fanny packs are. It was just laying here on my table, and I'm like, well, I don't have anything else to talk about. We're going to talk about the best players in Dallas Mavericks history. We might as well talk about fanny packs. Where are we at? Let's see. But think about it. Its best years were the same as Ripken Trammell. There you go. Wait, bumper stickers aren't cool? I don't think so. Nobody puts bumper stickers on their cars. The only bumper stickers I see on cars are from like the extreme conservatives and the extreme liberals. That's the only bumper stickers I see. It's like F Biden or Trump 2020. Like those are the only bumper stickers I see, or it's all political. Those are the only bumper stickers I see. It's either extreme left or extreme right. I don't see Dallas Mavericks. Well, I guess I'm in Wisconsin, so why would I? But I don't see like Wisconsin Badger bumper stickers. I don't see Green Bay, thankfully. I don't see Green Bay Packers bumper stickers. I don't see Milwaukee Brewers. I don't see Chicago Cubs. I just don't see bumper stickers unless they're politically aligned. And then it's like, ugh. I don't get it. Some people are into politics like they're into sports. Like they don't like sports, so they root for the Democrats or Republicans. I guess whatever floats your boat, right? Let's see. I collect 1 million baseball cards, so they're probably like, you collect pictures of men on baseball cards and have like a freaking basement full of them. So who am I to judge? Don't call them fanny packs. Call them hands-free belt satchels. Hey, there you go. That's a mouthful, but I like it. John used a fanny pack to carry my tools when I used to climb trusses. Never left the arena wearing one, though. Well, John, I'm gonna wear my fanny pack, and I'm gonna have my tools, which are like, maybe I could probably fit a can of beer in there. That's my tools. Can of beer, Sharpies, and a baseball, just in case I run into a former player. What else can I fit in there? Tickets are like on the phone now, so I don't have to have that. Actually, most of your tools are in your phone now. Definition of a maverick is an independent-minded person. Andrew says, hey, there are Skittles in there. Yeah, I can put snacks in my fanny pack. Uncle Rich says, Bo hitting the topics he says he will. That's not why we listen. If we want to listen to a dedicated topic, there are plenty of terrible webcasters who do nothing but stay on point. Yeah, those are boring. Those are boring podcasts. We don't want to stick to we want to go all over the place. We want to say, hey, squirrel. Then you have our legendary Bo, who we can send into all sorts of fun tangents. I prefer the tangents. I get enough dry talk already. That's a good point. Let's see. Brian says, if you wear a fanny pack, I think you need to also wear 2 to 3 collared shirts with the collars popped. I can do it. I can rock a popped collar. Back in the day, I rocked a popped collar, a backwards visor with highlighted tips. Thought I was in a boy band in 2001. I'm not ashamed. It was the thing to do 20 years ago. Blonde tips, backward visors, and popped collars. Let's see. You forgot the bumper stickers telling us about your elementary school honor student. Yes. My kid is A+ student at Jackson Elementary School. How's my driving? There you go. Let's see. Herman says most bumper stickers go on people's back windows now, easier to remove. That's a good point. It's a good point. Travis, what's happening? Don't forget my elementary student is an honor student. Yes. Max in the house. How about the marathon stickers or the stick figure family? I do see the stick figure families. I see a lot of stick figure families, especially if you roll into the Target parking lot. Glad the baby on board signs and car windows faded away. Remember what was was it Garfield? Like on the suction cups, Garfield on the windows. That was a thing for a little while. John says boring podcasts. Rich says Uncle Rich only tries to make good points. Bo's bumper stickers. My Biscuit is the best barker in the neighborhood. Biscuit doesn't bark too much. She only barks if there's someone at the door, and that's it. She barks to alert us that UPS has dropped off a package. Let's see. My kid beat up your honor student. Those are fun. Tell me you weren't an honor roll student without telling me you weren't an honor roll student. Get offended, people. I never had an honor roll student bumper sticker because I was never on the honor roll. And guess what? I don't give a rat's ass. I had fun in school. And look where I am now, selling baseball cards in my basement. Most likely to sell baseball cards in his basement. Give it up for Bo. Achieved goals. Goals achieved. I was most mischievous. I lost my yearbook, so I know that was the only award I got in my senior yearbook. Most mischievous. And then we had most likely to get married, and then you look back like 10 years later, it's like, oh, that didn't happen. What else was? Oh, I wanted to get on rip cards. So Austin probably left. Austin, you still here? So Austin had a booth set up at the Janesville Card Show last Sunday, and he had 50-cent boxes. So I dug through his 50-cent boxes. I pulled some Cubs. There were a couple Cubs. What did I pull? So out of Austin's 50, Austin, you had some awesome stuff in your boxes. So I think it was this box. Let's see. Were any of these? I don't think. Oh, there was this 1956 Topps Jim Davis for 50 cents. Heck yeah, I'll take that. Can't remember what else was in there, but there was this Tom Seaver. So I picked it out of the 50-cent box. Rip card, and he's even got a sticker. Says ripped card, numbered out of 75. It's ripped, and I'm like, 50 cents? Absolutely. And so shout out to Austin. Not only did he put a sticker that says ripped card when I handed him the stack, and I'm like, I think I've got like $5 worth or whatever I had. and he's going through and he's like, you do know this is ripped. So how about that? Like, shout out. I'm like, I know. So I'm like, this is probably like a $10 card, even ripped. So I listed this on eBay yesterday afternoon, last night. Tom Seaver, 2020 Allen and Ginter, numbered out of 75, ripped card. I listed it on eBay for $10, and it sold within hours. Sold within, 6 to 8 hours. $10, 50 cents. So if you're ever looking, I don't think a lot of these, like most people don't put ripped cards in like bargain boxes because they're ripped. Most people just throw them away. There's a lot of value in ripped cards. So when I buy Allen and Ginter, and it's been a couple years, Allen and Ginter used to be one of my favorite product. Now it's like, I can do with or without it. In fact, last year, the only Allen and Ginter, I didn't even buy any Allen and Ginter. Somebody left. Somebody basically pulled like the hits out of a hobby box at the Madison Card Show and left the rest of it. And so it was just me and Eric and going through, and Eric's a hockey guy. I'm a baseball guy. And I'm like, he's like, yeah, they just left it. I'm like, can I have the baseball? You can have the hockey. He's like, yeah. He said there were like a couple $20, $30 cards in there, the hockey. And there were in the Ginter, it was mostly commons. There was a Seiya Suzuki rookie card. There were some inserts, but it was like all $1.50, but they've sold really well. That's the only Ginter from 2022 that I came across. I didn't buy any last year. But when if I pull a rip card, if I buy a case, if I pull a rip card, I take into consideration the value. And I'll look, okay, Tom Seaver out of 75, unripped card. What's the comp for that? And then I look at like a baseline. What are some of the cards that are coming out of the rip? What do they sell for? Oh, it's just I'm like, there's something in there. It's just the backing. What do they sell for? And so, okay, say the baseline, the cheapest mini that comes out of a rip card is $15, $20. I can probably get, depending on the player, $10 for the ripped card. So 25. If the rip card itself sells for 50, it's kind of like one of those, like a Tom Seaver out of 75. If I pulled this particular card out of a box, I would probably rip it. I would probably take the chances and rip this card. If it was like a Willie Mays, or anything like numbered out of 10, I would probably sell it. But of 75, of 99, I'm probably ripping it. Of 50, depends on the player. If it's like Chris Davis, I'm ripping the damn card. If it's Willie Mays, Mike Trout, I'm probably selling it unripped. So, FYI, ripped cards, they can go. I pulled this out of a 50-cent box, listed it for $10, and it sold within like 6 to 8 hours. So, if you're ripping cards, or if you come across ripped Allen and Ginter cards, there you go. So I was going to talk about fanny packs, rip cards, and what else? What else is in my title today? One of ones. I pulled a one of one out of a break, and I didn't bring it in this room. Chris from Corvallis says, I went to the same high school that Tom Seaver and Frank Chance went to. Very cool. How many people can say they went to the same high school as two baseball Hall of Famers, Fresno High School? I don't even think I went to the same high. I don't think anybody from my high school played college baseball. Maybe community college baseball. We didn't even have I don't think we ever had a high school baseball team. After I graduated, we started, my high school started a co-op agreement with a neighboring school. So there might've been some kids from my town that went on to play college baseball, but I don't think anybody from Anawan went on to play even college baseball. And I'm sure maybe in the 40s, 50s, 60s, but nothing that comes to mind. Rich says, many years after I left, we have two major leaguers out of my high school, Pedro Alvarez and Harrison Bader. Nice. So one of one, I did pull out of I've actually bought into like 3 Elite Extra Edition Cubs breaks. The third was last night. I haven't watched it. So the first break I was in, I think I paid the most because it was like release week. I paid like $35 and I got some decent stuff. There was a Mark Pryor relic. There was a Cade Horton relic with a pinstripe and a Cade Horton autograph and then some base. So $35 probably didn't quite get $35. I mean, right now I could probably, if they were not Cubs, if I was not a Cubs collector and I was looking to flip, I could probably break even, I guess. Maybe make a couple bucks. Probably not. The second break, which I received in the mail yesterday, did not watch any of it. So it was a surprise mail day. And this was also the cheapest of the 3 breaks. I paid $16 shipped. It was a half a case, which is 10 boxes of Elite Extra Edition. And it was it was a great break. Led off by Nazir Mule, who's a 2-way pitcher and hitter. I think the Cubs are kind of focusing on the pitching part. 1 of 1, non-auto, 1 of 1, like the gold vinyl, whatever they call it, superfractor. It's not a superfractor in Panini, but whatever the 1 of 1s are called. 1 of 1 Nazir Mule. And also like, I think 3 other serial numbered Nazir Mules. It's like, hey, I've got to go for the rainbow in this product for Nazir Mule. Because there was one, I think a numbered die cut out of 149, and then I think like a numbered out of 499. There was also, let's see, a Chris Pacciola or Pacciola. I don't know his proper pronunciation in auto of him. I think another Cade Horton relic. This was that was a loaded break. Like it was like, holy crap, this is a great return for $16. I mean, hell. Great deal. And then the third break auction ended yesterday, and the break was last night. I think I paid $28 shipped, $28 shipped. And it broke last night. I might watch it because I doubt I receive. Yeah, because I'll be leaving Tuesday afternoon, so I won't get the mail. It won't be in my mailbox by the time I'll be in Arizona. So I might just, if I'm like on a random night in my hotel room, I might turn on the break and watch the replay just to see what I pulled out of that Elite Extra Edition break. So I love getting into break. Elite Extra Edition is a fun product. It's typically, fairly cheap in breaks. I do have a hobby box that I picked up at last week's Madison Card Show that I'm going to save. I'll break it in the hotel. I think we're going to do a hotel lobby break. Ethan's going to join me. Ethan Roberts. Miguel Pabon, who's a Cubs minor leaguer, is gonna drop in. So we're gonna bust some wax one of the nights next week that I'm in Arizona. So I don't know if I'll do it live, but we'll definitely take some video of our break. So it'll be fun. So with that, I'm gonna wrap it up today. Thanks for a great chat. We got off topic, which that's the goal every morning. Let's go down a rabbit hole. Today it was Dallas Mavericks. Let's see what we can do. What can you come up with tomorrow? That's the challenge. Monday morning, what can you come up with to go completely randomly off topic? That's the goal. So back at it tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Central. I will go live Tuesday morning, 7 a.m. Central. And then Wednesday, there will not be a Hobby Evolution because I'll be in Mesa and I won't have really anything to talk about Wednesday afternoon or Wednesday morning. But I'll try to go on Thursday morning. It might be like 9 a.m. Central when I go live on Wednesday morning. So I'll try to get on maybe like every other day next week as I'm in Arizona. So Bink Scott, thanks for dropping in. You too. Have a great Sunday, and we'll talk at you. Oh, hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel. Thank you for a great chat, and we'll talk tomorrow.